Good evening. James, attendance?
President Dr. Reese,
Present.
Vice President McDonough,
Here.
Secretary Summers here, Treasurer Hanser,
Present.
Trustee Schultz,
Here.
Trustee Schaefer,
Here.
Trustee Whitney, here, all present.
Great. All right, tonight is a special board meeting to continue the discussion on the budget. Do we have any changes to the agenda? I have none. No. Okay. Any scheduled public for agenda items only that received? None. Superintendent's report.
I just have one announcement to make. It's not a report, and I'm not going to bring you any specific details, but we did get our climate survey back that we did this spring. We had over 2,800 respondents between parents, students, and teachers, so it was, last year we had over 24, so we're gaining on that, and the research statistics people tell me that we really are getting a good return compared to what those surveys typically bring in, so that's good news. You will see the results are going to be posted on the website, I think if not tonight, by tomorrow morning, so you will be able to view them. I'm obviously turning them over to Dr. Milligan, who can then work with administrators to use them as we used them last year. It was nice to see a bit of a uptick in discipline. As you know, students, parents, teachers all thought we needed to be more consistent with discipline, and those 2 or 3 items that refer to discipline got a little uptick, so for 1 year, that was kind of nice. And you'll also see the other results are about the same. We're in the high 70s, high 80s, and over 90s in terms of those folks who find us in the 2 favorable categories. So I think you'll be pleased with the results. I just wanted to let you know it was going to be there.
Thank you. Great. All right, item number 5 on the agenda is finance and operations. The first item is the final amended budget from the 23-24 school year. If we get a motion to approve it, then we'll have our discussion after that. Colleen?
Move to approve the 2023-24 final amended general fund budget as presented.
Do I have support? Amanda? All right. Any discussion on the 2023-24, which is the current academic year we're ending? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is the 2024-2025 proposed general fund budget. If I'll get a motion, then we can have our discussion. Mary?
Move to approve the 2024-2025 proposed general fund budget as presented.
And do I have support? Colleen?
Yep, support.
All right, discussion. I know we have some items. I saw some emails flying, so there was a couple questions I think lingering from the last meeting. So if someone would like to start, I know I wasn't here, so I don't want to speak for you.
So I did have the question about OVA, and Vicki, if you could just explain that.
Sure. For all of our programs, we budget, there are thousands of line items, but all of those budgets are then reported in the budget by category. So we do not report Oxford Elementary School separate from Oxford Middle School, separate from early college. We have a report for all of our general fund teachers, all of our special fund teachers, all of our counselors, all of our social workers, regardless of where they work. That doesn't mean we can't pull items out. Of course, we could go to this worksheet and that worksheet, multiple worksheets, and create a budget, but it is not how the budget is constructed. So it is not a separate, there's no separate OVA budget, so to speak. I do know, and that's because I did it last year, exactly what I just told you. When I came, OVA was very new to me, and I wasn't sure about all of its moving parts, and so I did ask for a full analysis because I wanted to know, is the revenue we're bringing in covering all the direct costs? Is the district getting compensated for all the indirect costs we're putting into the program without directly charging them? And it was clear last year that that was absolutely the case. They brought in far more revenue than their direct expenses covered. To OVA, we give things like we give every other program. We don't charge directly to any of our schools the use of PowerSchool. That's a district expense spread across. We have safety security, district expense. We have custodial maintenance, district expense, etc. It's not unique to particular buildings. Our other buildings don't necessarily pay us back for those indirect costs. They're just indirect costs incurred by those buildings. But OVA, because it is a program that exists kind of out here in another world, it does generate enough revenue to pay us back for all of those indirect costs as well. And how much they pay us back does vary because OVA is a very moving target in terms of enrollment. It's always growing. It has never declined, so that means it's always bringing in more. But sometimes that growth is bigger than other years. So sometimes that excess might come in at 1.5, 2. Sometimes that excess might come in at 3, 3.5. It really depends. We don't do that analysis every year. I did it last year because I didn't know, and I wanted to find out, and that's what I learned. It takes a lot of time to do that analysis. If you wanted it program by program, we would probably have to double Courtney or somebody in the office. It is a lot of work. I just want to,
I do want to share in the finance committee, we review the line items, the thousands. So we do go through that from a finance committee standpoint. So we are seeing them in a drill down state. So kind of anyone who works with budgets, you know, it's a drill down. Like you see this, you tap it and then it blows out like the entire, or grows the entire list of budget line items. So we've asked a lot of questions in that, and then they can drill down to the detail level.
so that would be my answer to your OVA question. Did you want me to address the 5-year trend too, on class size, elementary, or?
Oh, please, yes,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
So that was the other question that came forward, and we had to do some digging. We'll fix it going forward, but in the past, people who do scheduling create worksheets to do scheduling, and they are current the year you're scheduling, because you want to keep you need to know where your class sizes are going in the current year. It is not ever a report that is required by the state, so it is not ever a report that's collected. You know, teacher, grade level, we collect grade level totals by building. We do not collect and turn in student counts by teacher. So we don't have any central office reports that do that we've kept on file. People who do that typically have done it for the current year and then they don't save them. So there was no 5-year stack of old worksheets. Barb Massey and Anita tried to recreate by filling in the number of teachers they had per grade level and then just giving you the number in the grade level, and then Amanda did an average. I can't really guarantee you that average is what the class sizes were running. It might be that in the beginning of the year, one teacher had 24 and 3 kids moved out, and we probably did not equalize those classes in January. So averages may not really be the true picture. But what I do know is that there has always been classrooms somewhere throughout the district at target, which is 27, 26 at the upper grade levels, et cetera. Now, going forward, I have said to folks, as long as you're doing the worksheets anyway, keep a file and save them so that when the board wants to look at trends over time, they'll be able to look at trends over the time. Elementary, that will be no problem. Steve is going to try to help us figure out how to do that at secondary, because at secondary, it's really more of a, I mean, you have electives, you have kids choosing, you have...
OSAC.
Oh, I mean, you have so many coming and going. We could probably easily start tracking the social studies, science, English, math, you know, those kind of required courses, but the electives are going to be all over the map. So I don't know how we're going to do that. But whatever they can, whatever worksheet they use to schedule the whole high school this coming year, they'll save that worksheet and see if they can build that data pile up for you going forward. But that's where that is. Now, having said that, there's no intention to increase class size by any number, nor did we put that in the budget. We had numbers of teachers given the demographic projections, and when we changed the demographic projections, if I'm right, Courtney, we did not pre-plan any other teachers moving out of the schedule because our demographics were going down so little. Am I right?
That's correct. So
Right.
the class sizes were based off of the enrollment numbers that were given to me by Barb and Kathy Rasty, our enrollment specialist. So
Right.
the demographics were done based on a high level. Like, they were not done at grade level, even secondary, elementary. It was just based on the demographer's estimation. At a district level, you would continue to gain these amount of students. So once we started looking at actual enrollments and saw that we could collapse some of those sections, that's when those expenses and revenues changed.
So there is no plan to reduce or to increase class size by any particular percent. There is a plan to try to stay truer to target number, not contract, target. Target is always a couple of numbers away from contract, and you want to start your year, if you can, at target, not contract, for that last minute, somebody moved from this house to that house, or they're going from this school to that school, and you didn't know it was going to happen, or somebody moved in at the last minute, or 3 people moved out, so you try to never start the year at contract if you can avoid it, which is what we're trying to do. In the past, I don't know, I really can't speak to whether or not people tried to stay to target or whether it was just, however it happened. I honestly don't know. I have talked to principals who have said, oh, we've always had 27 or we've always had 26. It always happens at 4th or 5th grade. So it doesn't seem like it's a big new deal. But I think at one school it is. Also, I want to point out that we have a current 4th grade moving to 5th grade, and we are moving those exact same sections over. We are not eliminating a section. We are moving the same number of sections, which in fact is what eliminated the section that got eliminated at Oxford Elementary. So that's the class size. And you can get historical data going forward. It's just going to be hard trying to dredge it up from the past, especially at the high school level.
I do think it's important to know when you look at the numbers, though, that in fall of 2023, on average, there appears to be the same amount of students as 2022 and 2021. There's not an increase projected, significant increase in our student population for 2024. So when we're talking about this, I think it's important to frame that what you said about moving the sections with the cohorts that they are in versus keeping sections for cohorts that no longer have that many students in them. So it's kind of like when a kid moves from 2nd to 3rd grade, if the 2nd grade class is bigger than the 3rd grade class, we'll expand 3rd grade, but maybe the incoming 2nd grade class is smaller, and so you collapse a section. And so I think it's important to make sure people understand that we work with the cohort of students, knowing what we have for pre-enrollment, and then of course adjustments are always made closer to the school year should they get over those numbers. And I don't think that's ever really been an issue to be addressed. And I don't think on this list there's only one that ever went over, if that's the true number. And that
Well-
was in 2021.
Yeah, that was a while ago. The other question on that is, well, if you reduce those sections, what happens to teachers? Because we didn't lay off any teachers, as you know. We had 3 openings, 2 at the middle school, 1 at the elementary, where those positions were absorbed. The only other thing I'll say about the budget you're about to adopt is that, as we pointed out in the recommendations I made for deficit elimination, wrapped into this recommendation for the coming year's budget is the redefinition of that restricted insurance fund to a restricted facility fund.
Does anybody else have any other questions or thoughts? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you for your work, Vicki and Courtney and Sam. Next item is unscheduled public comment. We have no one here. All right, item number 7 is closed session. If I could have someone go ahead and read the motion for that. Amanda?
Move to meet in closed session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Section 8A, to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of an employee.
Heather is support. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, it's a roll call, sorry. Go ahead, James. Stepping over your toes.
Nope, no worries. Hanser?
Yes.
McDonough?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Whitney? Summers, yes. Reese?
Yes. All right, it is 6:46 PM, and we will be entering closed session. We'll be back when we're done. All right, it is 8:37 PM. We are returning from closed session. Next item on the agenda is our scheduled activities. Last day of school on the 7th, woo-hoo. So right now, what we just have scheduled this summer are our Board of Education meetings with Dr. Milligan starting on Monday, June 10th. Number 9, any administrative clarification? Number 10, final board comments. This is Vicky's very last board meeting, so Vicky, thank you for being with us for the last 18 months, was it? And being interim and passing the baton to Dr. Milligan. We appreciate your time and service with us. You're welcome. Any other? Sure.
I want to also thank Vicki for all of your hard work and all of your time and energy that you've given to us. So thank you very much for all your help in getting us started on a lot of things that I think will be helpful for Dr. Milligan too. So thank you for that. I did have another comment. I wanted to make a clarification. We talked at the last meeting about the Oakland Schools budget, and everything that's already passed and everything, but I just wanted y'all to know that I was digging a little bit further because some folks had talked about operating at a deficit, and there was concern about that. So when I looked into the notes, and I did speak with some folks over there, like for this upcoming fiscal year, 24-25, that they have, their expenditures are higher because it includes a planned operating deficit, which is an intentional spend down of their fund balance to fund collaborative programs, including business office and HR residency programs. So the MSBO suggests that the ISDs keep a fund balance of 10 to 20%, but Oakland Schools has their own policy for their fund balance because they don't. The idea is that they are there to support the districts in the county, so they don't. It doesn't help them to hold on to money. They have to have a prudent reserve, but they don't want to hold on to money. They want it going back to students. So their policy requirements for their fund balance is 7.5 to 12.5%, because they had more money that they wanted to spend down out of their fund balance, and they invested it this coming year being in that business office and HR residency programs. So it isn't truly an operating deficit, it's a planned spend down. So I just wanted to let everybody know. Oh, and I was also at the election last night for the Oakland Schools Board of Directors, and Carol Finkelstein and Mark Katz were elected to the board positions. That's all I have.
All right. Any other comments? Heather?
I guess I wanted to make a comment too about Vicki. When we needed to get an interim, we were down a very dark road. It was a very rough situation, and we were all a little lost, and we really needed somebody to find us, and that's what Vicki did. We did not find her. She found us. She came to us, and she did not have to, and she helped us when she didn't have to, and she came to us to help us, and she came out of retirement to help us build bridges and get us moving forward. And it was a very difficult job. And I just wanted to thank her for coming. And we're sorry to leave you, or to have you leave us, but you deserve retirement for sure. So, well deserved, and thank you for coming.
Well, I'll answer that, if you don't mind, even though I skipped my turn. It was a really surprising decision when your consultant called and asked if I would consider coming to Oxford. And having been in Oakland County, of course, I knew of Oxford, and of course, I knew what you had been going through. And I also really was in retirement. And had he called me for any other district, it would have been a no, because I was pretty settled over there on the west side of the state, and, but Oxford, was a calling that I am glad I came to, because even though this is my 30th year as a superintendent, I have learned so much, and I have been able to learn it with really good people, and that's the people of Oxford. And my life will forever be enhanced because I was here with you. So thank you.
All right. Well, on that note, meeting adjourned, 8:42 PM.